Keys for us is going to be just being able to really step up and kind of rely on the training and the racing that we've done throughout the entire season. This team has probably worked the hardest and had the most work put onto them, and so they're going to be able to really rest up well for our conference meet and being able to just really kind of expect to swim fast. I know we've got a pretty young team, and so it's going to be a little bit hard for some of them to kind of realize that they may not feel the greatest going into their first swims, but as the meet goes by, they're going to feel better and better. And so sometimes it's a little bit of faith on what they've done all season long. Other times it's just when they're a returner, they know, hey, we're usually pretty tired throughout the season, but then at the end of the year, something clicks and they swim out of their mind. So that's kind of what we're looking at, what we're expecting in order for us to really have a great amount of success. But then it's going to be being able to really rely on some of our people who right now on paper shouldn't score in the top 16, but all of a sudden they slide in. And so those little things where they start to feel great and swim just faster and faster is going to be another added bonus for us as we look at trying to go in front of Eastern Illinois, South Dakota's IUPUIs. I know on our women's side, the biggest team goal is going to be end up trying to beat Eastern Illinois. I know it's going to be a tough challenge. Eastern has some really solid girls that are going to be able to place real well. So we're going to hope that we get more and more people into the consolation final seats than Eastern does, so then we can try and balance that out. On our men's side, I know they're looking at really trying to beat both South Dakota and Eastern Illinois. We beat South Dakota once here at home, and then they beat us the next day. So there is that possibility for our men's team to be able to do it. And then IUPUI has just been kind of, I think, a little bit in front of South Dakota. So it's going to be kind of a tough challenge for those third, fourth, and fifth place spots. But I think easily, and we've already beat Eastern twice this year, 3 times actually, that's going to be, I think, a given for us. And so that's one thing that we've already accomplished. And so now it's moving on to that next goal of beating South Dakota, beating the IUPUI. The men's team always does real well. They end up swimming out of their minds. Right now, kind of as we've looked at the psych sheet going into the meet, it looks like we're going to end up being in that 5th place spot, but South Dakota is going to be right near us. And so if we can get guys to step up, if their kids don't step up nearly as well, then it's going to be a really close meet. As the dual meets kind of turned out this year, they came down to the last couple of events, so I anticipate that being pretty close there. Women's team will have a little bit harder of a meet. We don't quite have the depth and the strength that a lot of the other women's teams have in our conference, and so it's going to be a challenge for them to try and beat Eastern Illinois, but that's always kind of our big goal. Eastern is our big rival in our conference, and so we're going to work on trying to do what we can. The women's team has trained the best that I've had since I've been here, top to bottom. We haven't had too many people out with injuries. We haven't had too many people kind of spacing out in the middle of our season. They've been working really pretty hard. So I expect them all to really end up dropping their times and swim incredibly fast at the end of the year. So it's just going to be able to slide into those 15, 16 spots and kick out a possible Eastern Illinois kid out of those positions. On the women's side, Julia should be able to make a podium on her 1-meter diving. Currently, right now, going into the conference meet, she's 4th overall. For the rest of the girls' team, it's going to be really pretty tough. If Megan Pop is able to get down to what she's capable of doing in her 500 and her 1650, she may have a possibility of going top 8 there. It'll just kind of depend on how she ends up getting up and going. Lizzie Hollapeter, Sarah Rosenhauer, those two will be, I think, currently a consolation, so the 9 to 16 spot, so they'll be just a little off this year, but if they really step up and light things on fire, they've got an outside chance. On the men's side, Doug obviously is kind of our leader on being able to place real high, so we expect Doug to be able to make easily top 4 in either the 1-meter or the 3-meter. The rest of the guys we're looking at, Tyler Lavelle, John Bond, Matt Abercrombie, I think those are going to be our three guys kind of leading the way as to who's going to end up being able to place in the top 8 positions.
I expect my divers to perform the same way that they practice. Basically what I'm saying is I don't want them going in, changing anything. I want them to do what we do best here, stay consistent, and just nail their dives the best way that they know how to do. Basically dive your own meat.